Welcome to Washington, East to West Sports. This is episode 57. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardall. We have our recurring guest, JT the Gingers, on the show once again to talk some Mariners baseball and some Seattle Seahawks. If you want to get involved with the show, go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Beatty_Matt. Sean is at Sean_Beatty. Kev's at Kev's Believe the First Thing Believes Me at 3. JT is at JT_ the Ginger. Let's talk some Seattle Sounders soccer first. So, man, they've had a great week. They beat San Jose 3-1 last Wednesday. Then they followed it up on Sunday with the 3-0 win over Colorado back at Lumen Field. They are back at home for one more game before we're on our next show. They are hosting Vancouver on the 9th, which I believe is Sunday. So Kevin, you are our resident soccer expert, and you blessed the Sounders with your amazing luck. So, how do you feel about the Sounders' recent week?
Pretty good. I was happy with them, so I let them win. As we've kind of noticed all, podcasts long, I decide whether they win or lose by my blessings, and it was a fairly good week. So it's just like, yeah, let's let them win. So. And if I'm feeling courteous, I might make them win again this following week. But I love the win streak. Keep it up. They're doing some good stuff over there. Finally bounced back after those losses that we were talking about last week. So all in all, just keep it up, Sounders.
Sean, any thoughts on the Western Conference leading Seattle Sounders at the moment?
No, this is kind of what they've been all year. What we expect them to be all year, and let's see if it continues when it matters the most.
JT, are you a big soccer fan?
Absolutely. I coach a local 5 to 7-year-old team that my son's on. We're pretty good. Might give the Sounders a run for their money. Challenge. The gauntlet has been thrown officially.
Now, is your son being scouted by the Sounders at all, or how's that working?
Not yet. He, I don't even know if he qualifies.
They do have a youth program.
Do they scout that young?
Oh, they do. They have a few 16-year-olds on their lower squad. So,
all right. Well, I'll be looking out for them in 11 years. But I don't know. We're making some rumblings. When you win 25-2 unofficially, we don't keep score.
But you keep score.
Unofficial. Well, the kids do, and I try not to encourage it. And just like. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, they're going to kick off because we just scored. You guys need to back up a little bit. And I was like, go touch the goal. And once they kick off, just come downfield and attack the ball. Well, that just kind of backfired. They came down like banshees and just it was actually quite comical. Really good for the photo book.
Very nice, very nice. Well, Sounders, hopefully they can keep that win streak going this Sunday. But let's talk a little bit about the Seattle Kraken. They are wrapping up their preseason as we are talking here on the show. They are currently in Vancouver and leading 3-0 towards the end of the second period. So just going to recap the preseason week. I know they don't matter, Sean, but we're just going to recap it anyway. 4-3.
I didn't say,
You said it. You said it at Calgary. 4-3 win. I believe that was in a shootout. They won 2-1 against.
These scores don't matter, but yeah.
Against Edmonton, they lost 4-1 in Kent against Calgary. That win against the Oilers was in Everett, and they are currently in Vancouver, wrapping up their preseason. So, Sean, what was that?
I said, and they're winning right now.
They are 3-0. So, Sean, what have you watched any Kraken hockey, and what do you think of them so far?
I have not watched any preseason hockey. All that I'm going to tell people to watch for in the preseason and what this really is for is line chemistry and injuries. And they're getting a little healthy. So Yanni is their center from the Tampa Bay Lightning is finally back to half contact. So he took the red jersey off. So that's good right before the season starts. He was projected to be healthy a little later than that, so it's ahead of schedule, so that's good. So they're getting healthy at the right time, I guess. Again, look for this line chemistry. Like, I don't care if they lose 6-0 to the Oilers, just if like your third line or somebody like that like has some good opportunities and things like that, your penalty kill and your power play just looks. I don't care if they go in, but you just want that chemistry. And it's kind of hard to tell in the preseason, but that's all you're really hoping for. These players gel. You won't know until in about a week.
JT, have you watched any Kraken hockey so far?
I haven't, but I will say screw chemistry. It's all about physics. Physically put the puck behind the opponent's goalie in the net and keep it out of your own goal.
In a legal manner, yes. Don't just run back there and put it in there.
Do whatever it takes. Literally do anything and
Pick
everything.
it up, skate over.
No, I haven't caught any. I did try to find some, at least just like some preseason stats for like how our goaltenders are rotating out and everything. Just trying to keep tabs on just the current shakeup of how the roster might end up. But really, I'm just kind of waiting for the regular season and seeing who's up on the active roster.
Kevin, any Kraken hockey so far for you?
Other than what I talked about last week, no, not this week. I will say, looking at the stats and stuff, Mr. Jarnkrok, I don't care if I'm mispronouncing it or not, looking hot just because of his name. I mean, honestly, if I was the other team, I'd be very, very intimidated by a man named Jarnkrok, because honestly, he's there to fuck some shit up. Pardon my language. But he is there to just, I mean, he's had 2 goals tonight too against the Canucks, which we all know
2 assists.
2 assists, whatever. He did it. They just gave it to the other guy because he's Jarnkrok, okay? But yeah, the Canucks, as we know, are the dynasty of this NHL league.
Yeah,
I can't say that.
Yes, they very much are.
But so yeah, watch out for Jarnkrok, because Jarny.
Yeah, I have watched a little bit of the Edmonton game, but I haven't caught much else outside of that. Just it's like Sean said, really looking for some chemistry right now. Vince Dunn has 2 goals tonight, defenseman, so that's good to see. Ryan Donato has a goal as well tonight. Morgan Geeky, shout out Tri-City Americans, 2 assists. Yarn Kroc, 2 assists. McCann, Schwartz, each assist. So a lot of different guys getting some points out there. So it's really good to see how they're gelling as a unit, just coming together out of the blue. So hopefully they'll kind of sort out these line combos within the next week. And they're starting to kind of get rid of a few guys here and there to kind of get their roster set for opening night. So we'll be interested to see who slots where. And Yanni Gord, like you mentioned, Sean, he's coming back, but whose spot does he take? It's really hard to tell at this point. So a lot of roster decisions we'll have to make right before next week begins, but it'll be interesting to see how they all gel together. And I will be at the home opener on the 23rd, so that'll be sweet to see live for their first home game. So let us know what you think of the Seattle Kraken and the Seattle Sounders going into it. I'm at Bader Matt Sean Score Baby. Kev's at Kesley, the first name leaves me in 3, and JT is at JT_ the Ginger. But let's talk about the Seattle Mariners, and it is the end of their season. We had a chance to make it to the playoffs there, and came up just a little bit short. So let's go over their final week of the season. And I don't know why it's telling me spring training on the schedule, because that was a long time ago. So they were able to defeat the A's 4-2 while we were on the air last Tuesday. And then they swept the A's 4-2 on Wednesday, had a 3-game series with the Angels, controlled their own destiny, were tied for that second wild card spot, lost 2-1 on Friday, able to bounce back with a 6-4 win on Saturday. And then it didn't matter with the Sunday loss 7-3 with the Red Sox and the Yankees winning and taking that wild card spot, which we have a final. The Red Sox have won 6-2 and have moved on to the 4-team AL playoff there, the ALDS. So let's just kind of give our final week of season thoughts. So Kevin, I'm going to throw it to you first. What did you think of the Mariners this past week?
It was very Marinerish. Is kind of what I was thinking was going to happen. We swept the very good team of the Oakland Athletics, who also, had a above 500 season, just missing the wild card by a little more. I think it was 5-6 games under. And then we did the Mariner thing and lost the series to the very bad team of the Angels, the Otanis, pretty much. That's what I'm going to call it. I guess that I could say the Otani Walshes, because Walsh kind of kicked our butt in that series. Walsh did a lot of damage, but so did it was pretty much Otani and Walsh. But so I kind of had a feeling I thought we were going to get swept. Luckily, we grinded some mojo, and it was beautiful to see the calls too. I love how they put the videos out with Rick Riz and Dave Sims, like the live video of the calls of the Kelnick home run in the 8th, to bring them back. Just the excitement and the energy was awesome to see, and the fact that they pretty much jam packed that place. It was good to see Safeco kind of full again. So I know the players definitely appreciated it. Pitching was kind of what I thought it would be. I get, because a lot of people were really kind of calling out Scott Service for the Tyler Anderson start. And folks, your options really were Tyler Anderson. Yes, he did get shelled the weekend before with the Angels, the 13-1, or was it 13? Yeah, 13-1 loss. But your other option was pretty much Iwakuma, which he had been crap at, and he hadn't played in forever. Or did I say Iwakuma? Oh my God, Kikuchi.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I just got done working a 12-hour shift. I'm tired, okay? Kikuchi, excuse me. Just, they pretty much where they moved him to the bullpen and they didn't even freaking use him. So that's kind of shows you where their thoughts on him were. The bullpen was all, solid. I mean, Seawald had kind of a hiccup there, but Seawald's still a beast. I don't give a crap what people say. Every time the bullpen, gave up runs, the Mariners fans would crap themselves. Hitting wise, was kind of the same old. I mean, Jared Kelnick continued to do his thing, so I gives me hope going into next year. I hope he continues to grind in this offseason and work on his mechanics, work on the things that he needs to get better at, to kind of keep continuing to get better and better, starting next season. And yeah, just to kind of wrap that up, that's about. And I love what they did with Kyle Seager, to stop playing the 8th and give him his moment to kind of say goodbye to everybody. That was good. And I totally didn't cry when JP Crawford was doing his interview and crying with Shannon Drayer. Totally didn't cry at all. No, not one bit.
Not one bit.
Not one bit.
Sean?
I thought it was as good as we could have hoped for. I mean, honestly, like, people were saying like, oh, we lost the last 2 games. I ran some quick numbers. You're going in the Angel game. The last 13 games were at 8.9 or 850 winning percentage. Like, that's not sustainable for any team. The 2001 Mariners, like, we were I don't want to say regression, but at some point this team was going to lose a couple games. Like, and I'm sorry that it took such a crazy run to even be in it. But yeah, like, I didn't anticipate us to sweep the Angels. We're asking, like, what was it? Them to win like 14 of their last 15 or 14 of their last 16 games to make the playoffs. We're like, guys, like, who makes runs like that? Like, how many teams this year? Like, did the Rays make a run like that at all this year? Maybe 2, but they were like one of the streakiest teams.
Technically, the Cardinals did.
Yeah,
well, the Cardinals, like, come on, that was like, they won like 18 games in a row. Like, that's ridiculous. But like, the record for the American League is 20. So like, but like, the Atlanta Braves didn't. I mean, I don't even know if the Dodgers did. Like, that's just a crazy run to go on, to be in it, and like, to expect us to just do that much more. I'm like, guys, like, it was going to come down a little bit. The problem was, as I was saying in the beginning of the year, we don't lose 3 out of 4 to Kansas City is probably your number one. Or early in the season, lose that game to that series to Baltimore or Detroit when you get no hit, like things like that. Like, those series, like, those are the series early, is the 1 games there that really were biting you in the butt. And that's what good teams don't lose those series to those teams. Yeah, I mean, every team loses occasionally to a bad team. But again, I've just named, like, because they lost multiple series to a couple of those teams. You could lose like a series, like Houston lost a series to Kansas City, but I don't remember them losing a lot of series to Baltimore, Texas, and all these other teams a lot. The Mariners just did a lot. They lost an entire series in Texas to one dude who kept hitting walk-offs in the 9th inning. Like, one dude basically hit. Salvador Perez hit three, had a monster series and basically beat them by himself. Like, just don't do that, and then you probably are in the playoffs. So it's okay. Where we were, where I thought to win 71, 72 games this year, it was a bonus. So it was really fun. Jared Kelnick played a lot better. The young kids, minus Cal Raleigh, played a lot better at the end of the year. So that's all I really wanted. I wanted something to build for the future, and those guys really stepped it up. And so I'm happy going into this offseason.
JT?
I'm more looking back on the season as a whole than the last week. I mean, you go 11-3 to finish. You can't ask for anything else. I mean, if the Mariners somehow got a wild card, I'd be sitting here saying, technically you call it the playoffs, but I don't consider it, a win. If we're trying to hold the organization of the Seattle Mariners accountable, I don't want to get in for a one game, flip the coin wild card game. That wouldn't be the playoffs to me. There's only, a handful of teams from each AL and NL that make it. So it's very competitive, and the Mariners surprised this year. They exceeded expectations. They exceeded what they realistically probably should have been. But it was fun, and it was fun to just kind of follow it. But I still think in the back of my mind, I was like, well, I think it's a win-win. I mean, if they get a one-game playoff, that'd be cool. You got a chance, 50-50, right? But at the same time, I don't think we necessarily deserve to be there. We just kind of ended up there at 90 wins. But on the season as a whole, a lot of great, performances. First and foremost, right? Chris Flexen. And that's pretty much it, right? I mean, he's the only one that matters.
You call that day one.
Day one.
But yeah, most innings on the year for the Mariners. That's pretty cool.
Good innings,
yeah.
Yeah.
But seeing Gilbert and Seawald and Streckenrider, Ty France and Haniger, a full healthy season. So I mean, it was really cool to see a full packed stadium. No matter what, they gave Seager a big ovation, like Kevin said. That was really cool to see. Very special. I hope he keeps his home in Seattle. I don't necessarily know where he will be working, but I hope he's a part of the Mariners organization, at least once he's retired.
Can I throw something out there that kind of went unnoticed? Casey Sadler set the ERA record for the Seattle Mariners this year. At a .69 ERA. Nice. But for the entire season, and just like no one said anything about it. I'm like, that was pretty beast. I know, like everyone's like, oh, these other guys. I'm like, Casey Sadler was an absolute monster. So yeah, it was fun. Oh, and Matthew, another thing here. When I say like the arbitrary of like JT, like just making the playoffs, it's really more of like the next round, like that random barrier of making the playoffs in a given year is like a mark of a good team. In the last 8 years, the winning percentage the Mariners had this year would have gotten in the playoffs 5 different times, but it didn't in 2021. Mm-hmm. So a lot of making the playoffs in these like kind of these years is also, there's a lot of luck that goes into it too. Like you need to be lucky in a random year to make the playoffs at certain points. If you don't win like 100 games, you're like, I hope I make it. Like that's basically what it is. So, I mean, last year would have been good. They would have made it every year from 14 to 17 if they had the same winning percentage, but they picked the wrong year to win 90 games. Darn it.
Yeah, the Dodgers picked the wrong year to win 106.
Yeah, the Dodgers won 106 and didn't win the division. So like it's like making the playoffs as like this random like 20-year drought is just like it's not that like they're like, oh, they need to make the playoffs in 20 years. It's just like I want them to be a competitive team is what they haven't felt like in 20 years. And like because like the arbitrary, like, do they like any year, if you flip it one year or the other, they're good enough to make the playoffs, but that doesn't change how good of a team they are. And I want them to start fielding a better team.
Well, let me start by saying, yes, I understand what you are saying, but you play for the playoffs. Everyone plays for the playoffs.
Yeah,
so
but if they make the playoffs,
I know.
any of those years, they don't win anything. Who cares?
Yes.
Who cares?
But you play for the playoffs. You play the regular season to play postseason games. Now, that being said, it's a great year. It's a great year. I think all of us here wanted them to make the playoffs. We believed, maybe some more than others, but it's, I think all the fans wanted it. They showed up. They showed out for the Mariners to try and help them push to the playoffs. And you just came up a little short. There's nothing wrong with that.
But I'm saying with this arbitrary playoff thing, like, would losing 2 days later really make change your outlook on this team at all?
No. But you play to play in the playoffs. That's why you play.
But again, like JT said, it's kind of disappointing even if you just make it this year and then that's it. Be a team that could do something with this playoffs. You don't have to guarantee to go, but be a team that could do something. And that's what they're building for. So I'm okay with them not making the playoffs. If they had made the playoffs, it wouldn't have changed my outlook one way or another at all. Doesn't change anything. Losing the arbitrary playoff streak doesn't matter to me.
That's fine. That's fine. But you play to play playoff games. That is why you play
to win playoff games.
Sure, absolutely.
You don't play to play playoff games, Seattle Seahawks. You play to win playoff games.
Sure. But that being said, it was a great season. All of us underpredicted them. Our expectations were all exceeded. I think the highest prediction was JT at 78 when I looked at the video of our preview show. So JT, you were the closest out going over. So Price is Right rules, you win.
Plinko, can I play Plinko?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I think none of us predicted them to be higher than third. So the fact that they were above the A's, I mean, second place, 90 wins, most wins since 2003. The team played great. I think obviously the stretch run was great, but I was able to watch most of the game on Saturday, and when Walsh hit that homer to go ahead 4-3, I was like, oh, this is probably where it ends. But Mitch Haniger, 3-2 count, 2 outs, single, brings home 2 runs. I mean, really doesn't get much better than that. It felt, we're all familiar with the 95 series, but you remember that Ken Griffey Jr. slide. It kind of felt like that, even though it had the same stakes on the line. But it was just cool to see the crowd was into it. Mitch with the clutch hit, and also didn't he have all 5 RBIs in that game?
Yeah.
Love you, Mitch Haniger.
Mitch led American League outfielders in runs this year, just FYI.
Yeah, Mitch, you're a beautiful man. Him and Kyle Seager both with 100 RBIs. So, I mean, overall, absolutely great season. We'll go in the off season and hopefully we'll make some moves, spend some money, and have a really, really formidable team next year. But overall, the Mariners, it was great. It was great. Playing relevant baseball games when normally we have already shifted to Seahawks season. It was nice. It was nice to, I think we all probably look forward more to the Mariners game than we did the Seahawks game this weekend. So,
Yep.
That's something that has not been the case for quite a while. So, let's, while we're here, the playoffs are going on. Let's just give some quick World Series predictions while we're here. I'm just gonna start. I'm gonna go chalk here. I'm going Rays. I'm going Giants. I think the Giants are gonna win the World Series. Nobody thought they'd be anything like this, and seems like they've got everything clicking. They do have Brandon Belt out for who knows how long, but no one expected him to be here. And they beat the Dodgers for the NL West with 108 wins, 107 wins, something like that. So way to defy expectations, and I think they take it all the way to the World Series. JT?
Oh man, the way they've structured it, ultimately, the matchups, that White Sox Astros, whoever survives, I'm kind of leaning to take the AL. And then as far as the Dodgers get to play one game, I don't feel bad for them at all, but to just play one game wild card against St. Louis. My dark horse is Milwaukee, because when you have the 3 pitchers that they do, as Kershaw's playing in a commercial in the background, I don't know if you heard that, but go get you some hand-cooked tires because Kershaw's throwing the curve. But the Brewers, with their 3 stallions of starting rotation. I like them as a dark horse. So I kind of want to just say Brewers and then Brewers, White Sox, but I'll go with the White Sox. I think when we preseason this, I picked them to win it all against the Padres. So I'll still go with the White Sox.
And don't forget former Mariners All-Star Daniel Vogelbach on the Brewers. Sean?
I like JT's team too. I just don't know if the Brewers can hit enough, like hit out of a paper bag. I don't know if they can. I like that pick though, because those 3 studs are amazing. If the Dodgers survive the 1-game playoff, the Dodgers are going to represent the National League. And then in the American League, I think it's the Houston Astros. We're going to get a repeat. That's the World Series.
Who do you got winning?
Dodgers.
Kevin?
I'm going to say for the NL, just because they're mad about not getting the division win. I'm going to say the Dodgers are they're gonna get by St. Louis and then just go ham with all that talent. I mean, they traded for so much. I mean, Trey Turner and Scherzer is just going to go ape shit. I have a feeling.
He's angry.
He's angry. And then I'm going to say, AL. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to say the Sox. Yeah. Technically, my heart kind of just tells me Tampa Bay, just because
you want it to be Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I think we all
honestly
Tampa Bay.
I don't care. Like, to be for the AL, as long as it's either the White Sox, and when I say Sox, I mean White Sox, not Red Sox. Red Sox can go eat a bag of poop. The White Sox or Tampa Bay is who I would prefer to see. I think the White Sox might have enough to just do it this year, possibly. But there's just a lot of talented teams in the AL. Like, it's just sword against sword, pretty much. Just steel sharpening steel. So honestly, if any of those teams make it, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, my God, you had Sunday, you had you had four teams from the AL East trying to get in. Like, I mean, technically Tampa Bay was already in, but you know what I'm saying. But it's just a lot of talent. So I'm gonna say the White Sox, Dodgers, and I'm saying just because the Dodgers, I have a feeling the Dodgers might go back to back.
I heard a stat about the White Sox, which I thought was funny. Did you guys know that they're a sub 500 team against teams over 500? Like, I just thought that was like, it's been like a moniker all year. They basically suck against the good teams. So I agree though, like they're really talented. And I think that's kind of like nitpicking some stats, but it was just like super interesting that everyone's like, they suck because they can't beat the good teams. I'm like, dude, you have Giolito, Lynn, Rendon, like they'll be just fine. Luis Roberts, who I dropped in fantasy, just decided to get healthy and just like tear everyone a new one. So that like is fantastic for my fantasy team. But yeah.
Like,
who won the fantasy league?
George.
Oh.
Me and GT played in the finals of the other league we were in.
And
my offer in fantasy playoff championships continues.
Well, congratulations, JT.
Also,
Also, Sean, to your stat, the entire Central Division was under 500, so that probably had something to do with it.
That's why the White Sox won as many games as they did.
Yeah,
like they basically wouldn't have made the playoffs if they played in any other division. So,
but let's talk a little bit about the off season and then kind of where you guys are at with this Mariners team heading into 2022. So, they had this, run that no one expected. There's some guys whose future might be up in the air. Kyle Seager is the main one that comes to mind, but based on what we know right now, who is coming back, who is coming up, and the outlook on the rest of the division, what is your expectations at this moment for this Mariners team going into 2022? Like, you guys have said the future is coming, and you guys I think most of you have said that 2022 is the year that the Mariners should compete. So if that is the case, what is the expectation for this Mariners team next season? Is it division title? At the very least, wild card, I imagine, is the expectation. So what is the expectation for this team heading into 2022? Sean, what do you think?
No, it's 2023 now, only because like when they're really, really going to compete, because a lot of their guys kind of got slowed down with the COVID thing. Like Hancock and Marte didn't progress from the year before, so they probably won't be up next year. Julio's probably the one that's going to start. I don't think Kirby starts the year on the team either. So basically the only guy that's going to be different from this team is going to be Julio has a real chance to make opening day roster. I don't think any other stud minor leaguer is going to crack this team anytime soon to start next year. I expect, who were you going to say, Kevin?
I was going to say the guy that we already saw in deciding, Matt Brash.
Well, Matt Brash already made the roster. So
yeah, but I mean, he technically didn't play.
But I know, but still,
I have
he's
a feeling
on the major league roster. So like, I don't count him like because he's already here.
Okay.
So, but yeah. And same with what's his name? Flamethrower. JT, help me out.
Hancock, Kirby.
No, the relief pitcher who throws like a bajillion miles an hour, who just pitched.
Oh yeah, Ramirez. No.
Oh gosh,
he just pitched in the 8th.
Yeah, he's real wild, but he just pitched. He came over in the San Diego trade. Munoz.
Munoz, that's it.
Oh, off the IL, yeah.
Who has no control but throws like a bajillion miles.
Yeah, he was throwing 102 out there.
Just get some control, baby, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
But I expect them to make some moves in the offseason, and I expect them to win about the same number of games because as hyped as everybody is, they won't get as clutch hitting as this year, and their bullpen won't be as good, I don't think. So they will regress in some areas, but the influx of new talent will offset that luck regression. So they'll compete for about, I want to say 88 to 90-ish wins, because I think along with that is the Astros are going to keep losing pieces. Their minor leagues is not like as replenishable as it has been in the past. Their guys are going to get older. Correa's a free agent. Injuries keep happening. Bregman keeps getting hurt. So I just think Yordan Alvarez just keeps getting hurt every year too. I just don't see I think the Astros are due a progression. Their pitchers are all getting older. Greinke's another year. Verlander's gone. I don't see they're going to get worse. The Athletics are going to continue to get worse too. They're going to lose like half their team. Marte, Marcana, they're gone. Like Matt Chapman just fell into a pit of nothingness at this point. So their best arm,
Bassett.
No, the prospect. Puck he's no relief pitcher at best now. He doesn't seem like a starter anymore. He just can't get that figured out. So like, I think they're regressing. People are really high on the Angels, but I just won't believe it till I see it, because everyone's like, "What about Rendon, Ohtani, and Trout?" I'm like, well, I mean, we've been waiting on that for a while now, like a whole year. And then what about Ohtani and Trout have been together for a couple of years? That's never panned out. They still have no pitching. So I'm like, until they do it, they have to kind of do it. And Texas is just a pit. So I think the Mariners, between signing some people, they'll regress the luck-wise, but signing some people in this division getting worse, they can still easily win 80 to 90 games and compete for this division. I expect the Astros to regress about 5 or so wins. So I think, yes, Matthew, it's division is a question up in the air. I think it'll be kind of like a central thing. I'm not sure a wild card will come out of this division, but a playoffs will be in the consideration again. But with 2023 being where a lot of the real like huge prospects are starting the season on this roster.
Kevin?
Yeah, I'm kind of where Sean's at, maybe a little bit higher, just because what I was going to mention before too, because I've seen a lot of online of people are like, "Oh, the Mariners did the Mariners again," type of thing. It's like, well, they had a 90-win season. The thing that we have to remind people about is that they got to 90 wins by losing their number 2 pitcher in Paxton. They lost their rookie of the year last year in Kyle Lewis, even though he kind of started out poopy. Iwakuma just became a shell of what he was after.
Kevin, they lost through half of their rotation like a month in the season.
I was getting there. I was going to say Dunn and Sheffield,
Dunn,
to where like they had literally like, and even Marco for a while because he was hurt. I think he was hurt and just didn't say anything. And then he finally got back to what he was doing. You really only had Flexen, and that was about it, like that you could rely. And then Gilbert eventually, but then Gilbert kind of had his rookie struggles in like August, and then kind of got it back together toward the end of the year. So it was just pretty much Flexen in the bullpen, like that's and then even the bullpen, like you had Ken Giles who didn't even play for you, like you have money tied up with him, so it's like there's a lot. And then you had a lot of bench like rotational pieces like White and like he's kind of a mixed dude, starts with an M. He plays out. No, not Marmolejos. Shoot. I can't remember his name. He plays infield and outfield. And he had a hit
more.
No, he got hurt, but he had a really good preseason for us. Shoot, Haggerty, that's it.
He's nothing. Sorry.
But like he's a bench player that could come in like to give I think with what he had in preseason, had he not got hurt, we might have been. It was probably a better option than what Dylan. People are like, oh, we had some people like, why is Dylan Moore in there? And it's like, well, your other options are, freaking trash, pretty much.
He's 27 with a 53 WRC plus. I don't know about that. He probably shouldn't play on this team anymore.
So there was a lot of pieces out and we still got to 90 wins. Like we pulled it off. So I have a feeling with the next season coming out, with people coming back healthy, I imagine I don't see anybody like dying out there to get Paxton. I think we could get Paxton for another 1-year deal for cheap to where he can be your number 2, number 3 guy. And then you're going to just have to go get pieces like to fill out. Like, I think this could be an enticing place for people to come in and at least get one big piece, kind of like a Cano, just not the contract of Cano. Let's do a little bit better on that. But to where, we're starting to fill that out, whether that's at third base or if they, shift somebody down, like if they ship JP down to third or Toro to third, and then you go get a shortstop or second base, get a nice starting pitcher that's maybe not an ace, but maybe like a number 2. There's a lot of good free agents out there. So we can see what's going down with that. I have a feeling this team could push. Now, getting to 90 plus wins is very difficult, especially with what we saw in this. I mean, you had 4 teams out of the AL East pushing for playoffs, and that's probably going to continue to happen. Yes, I know there's going to be free agents and stuff like that mixed, but there's still a lot of good AL teams. There'll be other ones that will try to get better in this offseason as well. So overall, yeah, we will be competing for the division, but I could see us getting back to 90 wins, maybe even more, depending on schedule and stuff like that. So I'm excited, to be honest. I want to see I want to see Jerry DiPoto get players on this team, like good players like that people know. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a household name, but like at least a good player that we know is going to be solid to fill out this team where we need it.
I was muted that whole time.
Yeah,
I would say expectations are high for this team next year based on this year. Obviously this year was, unexpected, but the way that they were able to come together and get to 90 wins, definitely over 500. I kind of like Sean's range of 85 to 90. Ultimately, I hope the expectation is to compete for division, and at the very least, I know it's one game, but a wild card spot would be fantastic. So that would be my, I don't want to say expectation, but 85 to 90 wins, and then just in the hunt for either the division or a wild card spot again, just like they were this year. And I think that is a fair expectation for them. Jerry, please spend some money, bring some guys back here. Kyle, sounds like you're leaving based on everything that's out there with some of your wife's tweets and stuff like that. But, I think I could speak for most Mariners fans when I'd say I'd love to have you back. I'd love to have you back. That'd be great. played well this season, and clearly, based on what everyone has said about you, you're a great leader. So I think I would you should come back if you want to. If there's greener pastures, feel free. All right. You've spent 10 years here, couldn't get it done for you. If that's it, that's fair. But we'd love to have you back. JT?
I think expectations for next year are, somewhere in the 80 win range. 90 was just kind of just backed our way into that. It was very random and nothing that you look at statistically really supports it. Like the Pythag says we should have won 76 games, but we have so much fun on this team that we
One
got an
differential.
extra 14 wins out of it. So I'm looking at free agents for next year. There's some pretty good names out there. And I'm not trying to for all you pinochle players out there, shoot the moon, if you will. But there's a gentleman by the name of John Gray out of Colorado, 30-year-old. And I like the cut of his jib. And I would love him in Seattle. There's a lot of players, but in terms of just like expectations and salary, that seems like a really nice sweet spot because we need to address the starting pitching rotation. I think our bullpen is really more of the strength of the team at the moment, and you can always get stronger. I mean, there's plenty of relief arms to go around, but in terms of projecting forward, setting up for the future, and I think agree with Sean, 2023 is the one where you're saying, okay, rubber meets the road. We really should have high expectations, but 2022 with the amount of free agents is pretty exciting. Belt's going to be a free agent. Don't want him because he bunts and breaks his thumb when doing so. But another pitcher here, Marcus Stroman, 31-year-old. He had a very good year for the Mets. And I like him as a person, as a Twitter follower. But in terms of just like solid consistency, I'm just kind of looking at
He had a good year though. You think you're going to he's probably going to get a decent pay chunk, kind of like a Robbie Ray thing though. Robbie Ray obviously is going to be extreme. Like, I have a great year, pay me a bunch of money. But you think they splurge that much?
I would like to splurge money. Oh yeah, Matt.
Like,
sorry, go ahead.
You thinking like someone like that too, like a couple of these guys, or one, or what do you think?
I think where you can make up the most ground is, I think, playing the matchups and hitting. I mean, the Rays and the Giants kind of show that it takes consistent, good quality starting rotation and pitching to win games, and you can really play the matchups on the hitting side of things. So I would focus more money up front for 2022, and then from there on, you got to be willing to spend, and then just kind of see where health lies, see how Toro progresses, see how Lewis comes back on the offensive side of things, and see where money can better be allocated for 2023.
All right. Well, let us know what your thoughts are on the Mariners and their season in 2021. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Bayscore Matt. Sean's at Sean_Betty. Kev is at Kev Believe the First Name Believes Me at 3. JT is at JT_the Ginger. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave us a comment. But let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks. They went to Santa Clara. I was going to say San Francisco. It's Santa Clara. They won 28-21 against the San Francisco 49ers. Just going to run down the box score real quick. Russell Wilson, 16-23, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns. Alex Collins, 10 carries, 44 yards, and a touchdown. DK Metcalf, 4 catches, 65 yards, and a touchdown. Defensively, Bobby Wagner, as usual, 10 tackles. Quandre Diggs, Sidney Jones, Jordan Brooks, DJ Reed, 4 tackles each. Jordan Brooks with a sack. There was an interception by Quandre Diggs. On the San Francisco side, Jimmy G, 14-23, 165 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Trey Lance came in the second half after a Jimmy injury, 9 of 18, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Trey Sermon, 19 carries, 89 yards. Debo Samuel, 8 catches, 156, 2 touchdowns. Aziz Al-Sayer, 10 total tackles, 1 for loss. Fred Warner, 9 tackles, 1 for loss. So what did we think of the Seattle Seahawks? JT, I'm going to start with you.
I didn't think very highly of this game. This is a pretty awful game to watch. I picked my spots in which I consumed this game, and it didn't really walk away with any warm and fuzzies. I mean, pretty disappointing first half in general, to say the least. And I just don't know if I can be fully behind this team until Mr. Pete Carroll retires. I think is the right word at this point. It's very frustrating. I think over the years, looking back, it's been a different frustration. And I was trying to explain this. My dad and I talk shop about what we saw during the Seahawks games, and it's like, I think years past, they could always be better than they were. Like, they got Russell, and it's like they got these players, and I just feel like they're leaving it on the table. And then I'm looking at this team, the depth chart, how we're playing, who we're playing, and it's just like, are we this? Are we a 500 ball club? Are we, and that's frustrating just because I think we could be more, but what the Seahawks have done in terms of trades and draft, and it's just like, I guess this is what we got, and it ain't great. And yeah, we're making the most of it, but it's kind of disappointing to kind of have that. And that's on my mind. I don't know if it's on anyone else's, but it's week 4 and I'm thinking about that. And it's like, I'm not thinking about the present. I'm not thinking about, but I actually wanted to get your guys' take on that. Debo wide open touchdown that we gave up. Was Adam supposed to carry the wheel route, or was there supposed to be help over the top?
We talked about this before the podcast.
Why don't you take a look here, JT?
And I think I swayed the other two's opinion. We'll watch it again and we'll see.
So, I mean, at this point, looks like Adams is trying to hand off Debo to somebody who's supposed to be back there. But as you can see, Sydney keeps following. I believe that's Ayuk is 11. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And no one is back there to hand off, which I believe it is this assignment
Blair.
right here.
Yeah. So Blair looks JT to be covering Ayuk. Jamal Adams is covering the flat. And so it looks like Sidney Jones just followed the wrong guy. It looks like it's supposed to be handed off correctly. And that's what Pete Carroll said post game. He might have been trying to protect Jamal Adams, but looking at it, it looks like Sidney Jones probably should have stayed with.
That's a bad throw too. He has to stop and catch it.
Oh no, it was not. I'll get into Trey Lance. He looked like hot garbage, but
yeah, right there, he should cut off and come back. But
yeah, he had to completely stop his feet, Matthew. You're correct. That is a horrible throw. Absolutely horrible. Like, you have like 40-yard window to throw that ball, 20-yard window, and he couldn't hit it at that window.
Is the high safety supposed to be shaded more to the? I mean, they had too wide to one side with the offset. It just seems like the high safety is out of place.
Yeah,
in my
definitely.
very novice
I would say so. Yeah.
He probably is, like, honestly, a little bit. But that's just how the scheme is going to work, because they're bringing
he should
pressure.
be on this side of the hash is where I think he should be slated.
But again, it's just kind of like, no, it's going to work well. It's not going to work perfect, but they're going to basically they're making Trey Lance throw that window to Ayuk basically. And I mean, based on yesterday, I don't think he could make that throw, but he unfortunately gave him the easy throw. So
even if it's covered like half as well, and someone's pressing the way the ball was thrown, hopefully it's just tipped away or something. It's
it would definitely be tipped away. It's way behind him. It's way behind him.
Yeah, I don't think any is getting completed. if it's yeah.
And this was great timing because at this point in the game, I'm like, all right, I'm feeling okay. Like we're gonna roll to a win. Like it's feeling pretty good about this. We just scored 2 touchdowns in 15 seconds or something like that. I mean, we're just putting up points in third quarter like it was our job. All of a sudden, it's like that's what everyone was talking about, third quarter points. And then that happened. I was like, uh-oh. Oh no. Just let me roll back those thoughts. I'm not going to verbalize anything.
Sean, what'd you think?
JT's right. Like, I'll just say this: this game was the same game as the Rams game last year. When Jared Goff broke his finger and the Seahawks won, it looked great. And I said, that is not indicative of how these games usually go. The Seahawks 90% of the time will lose the same game. You play that same game, the same style, because Jared Goff basically just had a terrible game. That's the only reason that the Seahawks won that game last year. And this year, the numbers graded out. The 49ers defense was more efficient. Their offense was more efficient. The 49ers basically dominated this game in every way. And the Seahawks got incredibly, incredibly lucky to win this game. If the 49ers have a quarterback and a kicker, the Seahawks lose. They basically in the first half, the 49ers had 160 yards of offense in just the first quarter and had 7 points. Like in bare minimum, if they have a decent team, they have 17 points. It's 17-0 going into half, and the Seahawks never catch up. It's not a game that like people are going to look at like we beat the 49ers, and yeah, a lot of their yards were junk time, but the 49ers were clearly, the Seahawks had 230 yards in the game, and the 49ers had 160 in the first quarter. Like they were clearly, at least in the beginning, were the better team. Jimmy got hurt in the second, and then it was never the same. And Trey Lance came in, and the 49ers did not believe in him at all. They ran it 3 times in a row the first 2 series. They didn't even have him throw the ball. Like they were just like, we're gonna run, punt, punt, and just like I was like, wow, you're not even trying right now. And they just thought that this defense was gonna hold them. And the Seahawks finally broke some stuff and did some things. Alex Collins looked like a beast. I'll say that. Like that dude showed up and showed out. Because I mean, this team, Deebo Samuel was killing the Seahawks early, and it was like they were moving up and down the field. The Seahawks, you need to still show me something. Again, it's incredibly fortunate to win this game the way it played out. I think if Jimmy doesn't get hurt, he was efficient enough and worked enough that they would have beat the Seahawks. Unfortunately, if he didn't get hurt. I was not encouraged like JT by the way this game played out. I thought this was not a good sign. Yes, I'll take the win. Don't get me wrong. Like that's not the point, but the point is like, if people are like projecting like, oh, we beat the 49ers, projecting in the future. I am not taking in the future as this is like a huge market win for us. Like we cannot play like this and beat a team that doesn't have literally a guy who was drafted in the 6th round of the XFL playing starting running back for this team. Sermon stopped playing after a while. And I know that they're like running backs don't matter, but at a certain point, when you get to your 6th running back, they're not NFL caliber running backs anymore. And they just weren't NFL caliber running backs anymore. They don't have a running back. They didn't have a quarterback anymore. And you're just like, all right, offense, go. And I'm like, yeah, the Seahawks should beat them if the 49ers keep going 3 and out. And if the Seahawks eventually put up points, but they only put up points because the Seahawks constantly had the football. Not because the 49ers just didn't do anything anymore. They just stopped playing football until it was really garbage time. Like it was like JT said, they scored a bunch of points and then the 49ers got that one gimme touchdown, but it was over. They got one at the very end. That was like garbage time, but it looked closer than it really was. But like, if all things considered, if everything doesn't break right for Seattle, this game probably gets ugly really early in the first half. The Seahawks were very fortunate that they had a punter kicking. The 49ers had punter kicking. And that their quarterback didn't play anymore, and that they had a 6th-string running back because they were killing everybody as that game went early. So I'll pass it off to Kevin. I could go all day.
Can I ask real quick, Matt? Do you remember, was that in the red zone? They had a 3 tight end set with Swaim and Carson. I don't know what down and distance that was, but that just kind of epitomizes the day.
Was it second half?
I don't know. You just played it a little bit ago. I was like, oh my gosh, we had a three. I didn't even realize
That must have been this.
what playbook has a red zone play. What?
Oh, but do you say one thing? Thank you, Russell, for running finally, because holy crap, it's super awesome when you run.
Yeah.
Like, please do it more.
Kevin, what'd you think?
Pete Carroll is back at OC, baby. Woo! Yeah. For any 12th man who thinks he isn't, you're dumb. This was a Pete Carroll game. Woo! Shane, what's his name? What's his last name again? I don't even know because he's not the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks anymore. This was ran by Pete Carroll all fucking day. Yeah. This was super predictable. Like, literally, as I was watching this game, I was like, oh my God, Shane's not doing the offense at all. This is all Pete Carroll. Like, it was so predictable. And literally, the fact that, like, they were still Pete. The run game really wasn't working. Alex Collins got some good yards, but it's still at the end of the day, he only got 44 yards. Like, stop, let Russell cook. Just do it. Like, that secondary was deep. Like, literally, everybody knew this secondary for the 49ers was super paper thin. Like, but you're just like, nah, run the ball. Like, literally, they kept showing, like, they're like, oh, they're feeding Chris Carson. They're pounding the ball. And Chris Carson's averaging 2.4 yards a carry. I'm like, bro, I'm like, stop feeding him. Let Russell throw the damn ball. I'm like, for God's sake. They're still not getting, like, we tried to draw it in crayon for Pete last week, and he's still not getting it. I see a play every now and then, but there was still, like, plays where, like, he's just throwing to the receiver on the line of scrimmage and hoping that he gets, like, stop it. If you're going to do a quick game, do it on a slant where the receiver's actually beyond the line of scrimmage and can get us 5 yards versus, the corner's back like 3 yards on the guy. You throw a direct line to him and you're just hoping that he gets by him. Like, stop it. I want to slap you. Stop it. Holy crap. This was a Pete Carroll game. And then also, too, in no business, this is, as people have already mentioned, this is like the most dangerous division in NFL. In no business do you have being up 2 touchdowns. Technically, you should have been up 3, because as we already mentioned, the defense screwed up and gave up a 77-yard play. It should have been 28-7. You have no business doing the run clock game against this team. Like, you need to still play offense normally with Russell Wilson. You just kept run. Like, pretty much. You threw in maybe 1 or 2 like throw plays every now and then, but they were just quick stuff on the line. Like, stop it. Run the normal offense. Keep getting points. You are so thirsty for clock. Like, you're just like, oh, I see a clock drop down. Oh my God, fun. Oh, so good. Yeah. Stop it. That's how you lose games, Pete. That's how you've lost games and how you've never been past the freaking division round in the playoffs since the damn Super Bowl loss, because you're an idiot and you don't even know how to control the clock, which is funny. You're so you love to control clock, but you don't know how to do it worth a damn. The Carolina playoff game just showed you that, like, back in 2016 when you screwed the pooch when we were down like 2-3 touchdowns and your boys are walking up. You're not even controlling the clock, doing fast pace. Not going to get to that. Anywho, defense. I will say, because I said last week, Diggs and Jamal Adams should have been benched. They played better this game. Still being said, they have a crap ton to still work on. Next year, we need to spend a first-round pick on a corner because our corners are terrible. But at the same time, too, because I haven't really gotten time, just because game film came up today. I need to go back and watch corner. Like, I want to watch defensive scheming, and I'm going to do that this week. And I'll get back to you guys next week on it, because I want to see if it's just corners doing stupid crap or if it's just terrible defensive scheming. I have a feeling it actually might be terrible defensive scheming because Pete Carroll's an idiot. because that's what it kind of, from what I could see, especially in the Minnesota game, when we were just getting dunked on by over the middle because we kept doing 2 deep safeties. So yeah, we got very lucky. Trey Lance looked like crap, but he's a rookie. I'm not going to say Trey Lance sucks yet, just because it was pretty much his first game. He's a rookie.
Yeah, just to clarify, he looked bad this game. I'm not saying he's like,
and he hasn't played football in 2 years. So like, I'm going to give him time.
He is a huge project. Yes. But
so,
he looked bad yesterday.
He did. He looked like hot shit. He literally looked good because Tebow Samuel was wide fucking open.
And because the 80 of his yards was on a game where they were up, down by 3 scores with 2 minutes left. Who cares? Yeah.
So the Ram. And we'll get to that in a bit. But Seahawks, like, you literally, it was the reverse, and we got lucky. Like, people were like, "Oh, we won." I'm like, you literally had the Vikings game, but reversed. Like, you just scored in the second. You went to Pete Carroll style instead of back to doing nothing in the first half and kind of just barely getting enough to get by in the second half with Russell Wilson doing things. So it was a Pete Carroll game. You should be scared as Seahawks fans because we're regressing. We're not moving forward. You have a Hall of Fame quarterback. You're not utilizing him. Shane Waldron is not the offensive coordinator of this team anymore. Yeah. There goes the season. So,
yeah, I'll try and make it real quick because we're running lowish on time here. First of all, I was within 4 points, so man, I'm good. Sean, you said Brandon Ayuk over Devontae Smith. Boy, were you wrong. But about the game, yes, you guys already mentioned it. The defense was not great.
Leaving. I contest that.
The defense was not great. I wasn't able to watch this game really. I was driving home, really only listened to it on the radio. Actually I kind of enjoyed listening to it on the radio because then I couldn't watch what was actually happening. It was easier to listen to it and not see what was happening on the field. But you guys have already mentioned it. The defense, it did play better. We'll give them credit there. They played better than they have in the first 3 games for sure. But the offense was good enough. I was listening to it and it was 3 and out that first half basically until that last touchdown. And then the offense, did enough in the second half, closed the game out with that Alex Collins run. I get what you guys are saying. It wasn't a great performance, but ultimately the win is the only thing that matters, and they got the win. Now, is it going to be great going forward? I mean, it's questions out on that one. We'll really know on Thursday what this team is, but the win is great. Confidence level should not be super high, but at the same time, you are tied with the San Francisco 49ers, and we'll see what happens with Trey Lance. He's got a full week to prepare. We'll see what happens with a full week to prepare with Trey Lance. And then the rest of the division is still good. So you're not in a terrible spot right now, but things could be definitely worse. Absolutely. So overall, the win is the only thing that matters. But at the same time, this performance does not inspire confidence. But it was good to see Russ at the end do what he normally does in his career and just pull something out of his hat and lead us to victory, because that wasn't there the first 3 weeks. He was able to close out the game against Indianapolis with 1 touchdown, but the second half has been their Achilles heel. They did score points in the second half, and they did enough to win the game. So that is what you want, is to win the game. But we'll see what this team is on Thursday. And let's talk about the Cardinals and the Rams. I will go ahead and start as the only one who predicted this game correctly. I hope you guys realize Kyler is the best quarterback in this division at this point. If you don't, you can deny what you see with your eyes. That's fine. But Kyler is clearly the best quarterback in this division. Whether that is the best team remains to be seen.
Or if the numbers say that or not, but that's fine. Or if the numbers support you or not, that's fine.
4-0, doesn't matter.
So quarterback it does.
4-0. So
that's not a quarterback stat. Like, that is not a quarterback
stat. Yeah.
4-0. So I said the Cardinals were going to win this game. I thought it would be closer, but I think Kyler proved he's the best quarterback in this division. And it's only 4 games, obviously, but at this point, it appears that Cardinals are the best team in this division. So we'll see how the rest of the season shakes out. And they do have the 49ers next week with Trey Lance for the full week. But, you know, cover Cooper Kupp and shut down Matthew Stafford, and you've got a pretty good chance here. Kevin, what do you think?
I think Kyler Murray with the giant ass anchor of Pete Carroll on him would not play nearly as good. So that's why I don't think he is the best quarterback, because literally it's Russell Wilson playing with an anchor the size of Titanic on him. It's not even a contest. Like if you get Russell Wilson, a coach and an offensive coordinator, like you have to have a head coach that actually relinquishes to the offensive coordinator to actually do their thing, to where they can do stuff. Then yes, Russell Wilson is the best quarterback. But like, as far as statistically showing, Russell Wilson still is, because of what past history has shown. Like, unfortunately, he just has a stupid old senile man who thinks that 1989 football is how you win championships, even though it's lost him over the past God knows what 7 years. So, and you have Kyler Murray with a college coach who knows that throwing the football kind of helps win games. So he's going to have an offensive coordinator, offensive scheme to play to Kyler's strengths versus not playing to Russell's strengths. They're playing to the running back strengths. So that doesn't technically. Now, if they actually played to Russell's strengths, you would see what you saw last year with like the Atlanta game, where he's dropping like 46 points on their asses. Like, it's just not a contest. Like, Russell has a better accuracy, better, arm. Kyler's faster, like on running. That's really about it. 4-0 it's a team game. Like, and unfortunately, it's also by coaching as well. So yes, Kyler is 4-0, but that's also because he has receivers, he has a good offensive coaching scheme and stuff like that, and has the defense, I will say, is better than what I thought so far, especially what they did against the Rams. So Matthew Stafford did also have a really terrible throw on one of his picks. Like, he kind of went back to his Matthew Staffordness. So I think that will kind of get hopefully cleaned up, possibly. Well, I don't want to say hopefully, because I hope the Rams suck, but anywho, so overall, it was kind of a surprising game. I thought the Rams would kind of score more, but they did good things defensively, which was kind of surprising. So props to the Cardinals. Yeah, they're a good team. So we'll see what happens in the future. And I forgot. Were we predicting the Thursday night game?
No, just the.
Okay.
Sean, what'd you think?
I was actually listening to this driving from work, and they broke it down this way. This is a national guy. The 4 luckiest plays in the game all went Arizona's way. The 3 unluckiest plays all went the Rams' way. This was kind of the Seahawks 49er game. The game broke all the way Cardinals. The game broke all the way anti-Rams, and the Cardinals won. Kyler played well, but Kyler ran for 2 3rd and 20s, which are not sustainable. So you can't bank on that. According to advanced metrics, the best quarterback in the division is the other guy that played, which was Matthew Stafford. And the best team, depending on if you don't incorporate who they're against, Arizona ranks 3rd and the Rams rank 5th. If you incorporate who they have played, the Arizona Cardinals are actually the 3rd best team in this division. Even with all this, I don't know if I totally buy that the Seahawks are better than Arizona, but you do have to take into account Arizona has played the Jags. So that also inflates those numbers quite a bit. But Kyler has looked good. I think the biggest issue with the offense. Oh, and Sean McVay, they kind of torn to Sean McVay and knots. He offensive scheme wise is still pretty good, but he just is terrible at analytics for between punting, kicking field goals, and going for it. Horrible. He's horrible. It has been for a couple years now, so people need to start calling him out for that, because he's actually been pretty bad. Cliff Kingsbury's not much better, but he has Kyler Murray, so it makes up for a lot of, a running quarterback makes up for a lot of 4th and 1s and things like that. It makes you look a lot smarter. So Cliff Kingsbury should get a lot of crap for those calls too, but his guy makes up for his lack of calls. But I think the biggest issue was I was talking to somebody before the season started, was if AJ Green isn't just dead. And he's not. And that's terrifying, because if AJ Green is even sort of what he is, that's going to be a problem. And he is sort of what he used to be. Yeah. Can I also say Chase Edmonds made one of the craziest catches I've ever seen in this game on a horribly thrown ball by Kyler Murray, and like spun 360 the other way and caught it for a first down that led them to their second touchdown, which I was like, wow, there's like 3 receivers in the NFL who make that catch. And Chase Edmonds, a running back, just made that catch, which was I can't remember exactly what point it was, because I was, we were watching the Seahawks game at the same time. And so it was like, you kind of look down at red zone, you're like, oh my God, Chase Edmonds. But, and then you just click back up because the Seahawks are playing. But it was pretty insane. A pretty insane catch. But I think while Arizona is good, it's a little hot streak, and we'll see. It is a long season. But if AJ Green keeps doing AJ Green things, covering this many bodies, although Hopkins is hurt already again. So if they could both stay healthy, that's a pretty formidable one too.
JT, what'd you think?
Not much, probably a lot of repeat. I didn't get a chance to watch this game, but kind of reading here as everyone was talking, and kind of seems like Stafford just had a down game. I'd really be interested on watching the game replay, because to hold that Rams receiving to what it did, I mean, like Cooper Kupp at 13 targets, 5 catches. Pretty interesting. I do enjoy me some Chase Edmonds, so he's available for trade, gentlemen, if you want him to roster him on your fantasy team. Just throwing it out there.
It's just James Conner leeching those 2 touchdowns, man. I don't know.
Like, having him in my money league, JT, it's great.
That's
right.
But
I do like how, like, you're looking at the defense for Arizona and the stats, and no sacks, but it seems like they really pressured Stafford effectively. But I won't comment much further without having seen the game.
All right. Well, we got about 5 minutes left here, so let's talk about that Thursday night game. LA Rams at the Seattle Seahawks, 5:20 p.m. It is on Fox, Amazon, and NFL Network. I'm going to try and watch it not through Fox, since their streaming app sucks. So NFL Network or Amazon's probably the preferred method to watch it. As we know, the Rams coming off the loss to the Cardinals. Seahawks are coming off the win against the 49ers. 3-1 Rams, 2-2 Seahawks. I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to make this quick. We are going to find out how good the Seahawks are. And man, I've kind of gone back and forth. I could see this going either way. Seahawks are 0-1 at home so far. I think they're going to be down. They're going to have to throw. And I do think that Russ has some magic this game around as well. Very key stat. Seahawks are 4-0 all time with the full green uniforms. So that's probably one of the most important stats. So I'm going to say they go to 5-0 here with those green uniforms. And, I think Matthew Stafford will have a day. But I think that Russ will outduel him. Just hopefully do some good amount of play action. Hopefully roll him away from Aaron Donald, and just get Russ moving outside of that pocket, so he's not standing there and just taking shots from Leonard Floyd and Aaron Donald all day. So I think it's probably going to be more of a defensive battle. I'm going to go. I'm going to say defensive. 27-24. JT?
Oh man. I just feel like Debbie Downer over here.
You won't be the only one, JT.
All right, we'll just see how low we can go. I look at the Rams roster and matchups, and I'm like, oh, okay, so offense similar to the Vikings, better coordinated, better schemed. That doesn't bode well, because the Vikings tore us a new one. And then as far as the Seahawks defense against that is just, yeah, that's gonna. I don't think it's gonna bode well, especially coming off this piss poor performance. I know we're at home, um, but I almost feel like chalking up the Rams loss to like some Tampa Bay flu. Just tough loss coming back across the country. I don't know. Um, I don't think the Seahawks are going to win, unfortunately. I'm just going to keep it real. And I feel like it's going to be to the tune of 28-20. Unfortunately, that would probably be my guess.
Sean?
Okay, I want to preface this by saying I know I'm the analytics guy, but Matthew, I would totally be lying if I didn't look at the stat that you gave about the action green jerseys and then thought about picking the Seahawks based solely off that. I literally did. I was like, they don't lose in primetime at home, and they are wearing action green. I know none of those are analytics based, but the record speaks for itself for all three of those. And I was like, that really tried to get me to sway to pick Seattle. But I'll give a quick rundown here. Total advanced metrics, like the Seahawks ranked 11th, which is good. I won't give you the Rams, but it's higher than that. And I'm like, well, the Seahawks have a good offense here. Like they rank 4th. That is still lower than the Rams efficiency. So I'm not, and then I don't want to get, you don't want to hear defense, but I will say the Rams are absolutely awful at special teams. And it doesn't really matter a ton, but unless you're fumbling on special teams like the Rams have been doing, then it does matter because turnovers suck especially on punts. And the Rams have done it twice. So fumbling a punt is like one of the worst things you can do. So if that happens, then I would love that. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's like a 33-20 game, Rams.
Kevin, what do you think?
And you guys are being kind. Yeah.
I knew Kevin was going to be like the whole Sean McVay, Pete Carroll thing, but that's eventually what swayed me. I get it.
As I already mentioned, like Pete Carroll is back at OC, baby. And Sean McVay is loving it because he just shits the bed. Like you just literally, he's just like open wide. Here comes my poop. It's coming like this is like, and to Matthew, if this is a defensive game, Matthew, this is going to be a slaughter. Like our defense is hot garbage. Like, oh, I mean, we just saw with what Deebo Samuel just did to us. Now you got Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and Van Jefferson on that defense. Like, ain't gonna be pretty, ladies and gents. Like, this might be the come to and I hope it is. God, I hope the 12s like this is like the big Bane moment in their brains where like they grow a brain. They're like, oh my God, Pete Carroll sucks ass. Why the hell do we still have him? Like, I hope this is the come to Jesus moment for 12th man that Pete Carroll needs to go. Like, and I'm saying for like 90% plus of all Seahawks fans. Because right now it's at like maybe at best like 35%. I think it's way lower than that. But it is higher than what it used to be. So with that being said, the Rams are going to poop on this defense really badly. And then the Rams defense hasn't played good recently, but it is the Rams defense and Aaron Donald's hungry. He didn't get as much as what he wanted last, because I said he's going to eat Kyler a lot, and he really didn't. So I think he wants to eat Russell this week. I'm going to say it's a little bit wider spread. I'm going to give a predictions of the Rams just murderifying the Seahawks 35-17.
All right. And let's just go quickly. San Francisco, Arizona, 125 Sunday. I do think this is actually going to be a pretty decent game. I think Trey Lance has a week to prepare. I think he'll be better.
Is Trey Lance a starter? Did they announce that already?
Yeah, I think Jimmy's out. He has a calf injury. I think he's out for a couple weeks. As last I heard. So yeah, I think we all. I think I remember specifically Kevin said that Jimmy gets hurt. So game sooner rather than later.
What week I predicted? I think I predicted the week, but I can't remember what week.
Yeah, I think it was later than this. But
it's not.
I think I said
Williams
November.
And
yeah,
Trey Williams and Garoppolo are still. They might play.
Oh well. I think either way, I think the Cardinals win. I do think it will be a closer game. I think 30-27, I think. Kevin?
I'm gonna give you two scores. One Jimmy Garoppolo, one Trey Lance. If it's Jimmy Garoppolo, I will say I'm gonna say 33-27. Say it's a 6-point. If it is Trey Lance, I will say 33-20.
Sean?
I go 35-30 under the guys that Garoppolo doesn't play.
35 for
Arizona.
JT?
I'm gonna say Arizona wins, and I'm gonna say 34-24.
All right. Well, let us know what your predictions are of the Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals, Niners, what you thought of this past week for action. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Baby Matt. Sean's at Sean's Betty. Kev's at Kev's Believe the first thing believes being a 3. JT is at JT_the Ginger. Before we get out of here, JT, we gotta know what your hat is. As usual, what is your hat?
Los Chicharrones. It's a Copa hat for check it out there for the Cola Fireflies. So it's just
Wow.
a little.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Hat game always on point. Always on point. Well, JT, thank you for joining us once again. And we will see you next week for a Kraken preview, as well as talk about how either the massacre was, according to Kevin, or maybe a miracle in Seattle. And we will see you next week on Washington East to West Sports.